today, let's talk about some of the work that we have done in the space of data, where we have leveraged technology, data, and definitely human intelligence to uncover the hidden nuggets in the data and leveraging that for the best business outcomes. So with that context, let's take a look at how this has been helping us. And you might have heard hearing this all the while, right? So AI is not there to replace humans. AI, GenAI is becoming a very, very core function of every organization. But it is there to supplement or complement the work that is being done by human intelligence and not really to replace this. I'll give you an example. So Harvard Business Review has published a use case wherein an analyst was going through a report which had hundreds of pages and lakhs of words into it. Now, being a human, you can still overlook some of the information. And what happened in the analysis of that report is the analyst missed out on the information which was kept low profile by the competitor in their report. And they did call out that they're expanding in a market, which is a low-cost market. And then at some other page later on in this report, they mentioned about their strategy to expand in that market. Now, with lot of pages, lot of information in that document, the analyst missed out on connecting the dots from first page to some page later and understand the strategy of the competitor. Now, what happens is when this information was fed into the AI system, which is able to make connections across different kind of inputs that are coming in, it was able to understand that their strategy to get into that unknown market, which is a low-cost market, their strategy was to build or manufacture a particular line of product, use that product in a more cost-sensitive markets, and then, after a few months, expand in that market as well. Now, all of this was not written in black and white. So human-made brain could not interpret information at one page to the other and interrelate, but your AI system could do that. Now, what happens with this is the organization, the analyst, and the senior stakeholders were able to have their counter strategy much ahead of the competitor before they could launch the product and enter into the market. So this is how this statement stands very valid, that it is only going to amplify human intelligence, and that is what we need to use it for. So with this, let's take a look at why are we even talking about GenAI, AI, and all of this. So we all have seen first wave of a big disruption that happened with the advent of internet, which actually opened up the doors for a lot of disruptions in technology and in data. So if you look at this graph, it talks about how the web evolved, then mobile evolved, then IoT systems, connected systems have evolved, and at the same time, technology also evolved to support that kind of evolution. So when these technologies were evolving, at the same time, the customers are also evolving. And that is where the below blue line talks about how the customer expectations are changing with this disruptive wave. Right from omnichannel experience to journey optimization to expecting personalization in the real time is what your customers are always expecting. So now, with this kind of evolution that has happened, we at Publicis Sapient have also reimagined our businesses in the realm of digital business, digital transformation with the speed capabilities, which are primarily strategy, product, engineering, experience, which is all driven by data and AI as a core function. And the real value lies in all of these capabilities working together in tandem, and then generating the magical intelligence out of what you have. Now, as we talked about the disruptions in technology, in experience, the digital touchpoints are enhancing every day. That has led to the disruption in the data landscape as well. So if you look at the data landscape, it is no longer your tables and your information pieces or text. It is your tables, your information, which has been the traditional ways. It is your documents, which are again data, structured, unstructured data, the content that we consume, which is a rich media content. So all of this content is becoming heavy and heavy. Now, different ways in which we need to look at this, and in this topic where we are talking about intelligence, intelligence has to come not only from numbers, but from wide variety of data. And the volumes are increasing at the same space. So with the volume increasing, the diversity of data increasing, there is definitely a need to have better engineering practices to surface up insights at the speed which your end users are expecting. So as per our experience in the industry, this is what we have been doing, that unlocking the intelligence from data for different functions of a business. Now, intelligence is no longer only needed for your end customers. It is needed at broadly 3 levels: for your own processes, so that you start understanding your processes, learn from what decisions you took in the past when the process failed. How can you optimize that for future? Customer insights, which has always been the talk for business, that you need to improve their experience. But the expectations are different, so now experiences need to be more human-centric or human-driven than machine-driven. And we'll look at some of the examples on this. And at the same time, when you're talking of your customers, you're talking of your data processes. Should you not be using data for improving your own ways of working? And that is where insights can help you for your business operations. So all of these taken together will help you to optimize your own processes, will help you to start optimizing your customer experiences, and will help you to leverage data at every step of your journey. So let's take a look at some of the representative use cases on these kind of insights. So when we talk of data processes, yes, we do talk of the ingestion pipelines, the ETL processes, making data ready for consumption. But what is it that you can do with the insights that get generated from these processes and the actions you have taken in past? So if you have processes which can self-sustain, if you can have processes that can help you to do PII labeling on their own, rather than a human sitting there reading through the n number of data points and finding out what is PII for you, if your systems can do identity matching, if your systems can suggest schema profiling, so that is where the real power lies from your experience and the intelligence that you can build into the system. All of these are aimed to provide you the benefit of making your data better quality and making it quickly available to your audience who can use it. Rather than waiting for something to fail, someone looks at it, makes a decision, what needs to be done, then takes an action. Your intelligent system should be able to do certain things on their own. Moving to the next type of insights for a different business function, again, customers. We all know, we have talked enough about knowing your customers holistically. But with the different type of data sets that we talked about, it is not so easy. You need to have right foundation to look at the customer behavior, but also certain things which you cannot look at yourself. For example, if you have an image, how do you think your consumer is going to consume that image? In that image, there can be multiple elements. You might have a human being shown, you have some background being shown, you have some product being shown. So which element of that image has been consumed properly, or which is attracting customers, which is not attracting customers? So it is not about now just simple data points, it is about the image to be read in a way that is appealing to your users. So with this kind of experience that users are looking for, the experience definition is also changing. We all have seen those sites or apps where they ask you to select from a drop-down, right? What it is doing, it is not understanding you. It is telling you, I understand this, and you give me this information. But now the landscape has changed. You need to think of what your users need, let them tell you in their own words, and then interpret what does it mean and what kind of understanding I have beyond what my user is telling me. So that is where the customer insights are changing, and they will help in real-time personalization experiences to be created in a different way than traditionally we have been doing. Coming next to the business operations, so why don't we get our house in order? Working for your customers, working for your processes, why don't you have your own processes streamlined and optimized based on the insights or certain things that we have learned? So for example, for a delivery organization, or even for that matter for a product organization, when you're building something, there is an agile way of working that mostly we adopt now. In that agile way, there is a human brain who thinks about, these are the features I need to deliver in these sprints, in these times. And that human brain is helping in the planning. For these features, this is how I need to have my stories lined up. What if your system is telling you, on the basis of features, This is the timeline that you need to achieve, so sequence your stories in this way. This is the kind of backlog you need to have created that can help you to achieve these features. This is the effort you would need. How can you optimize your effort? If your system gets that intelligence and starts complementing with your thought process, will that not be easy? Will our planning process not be more optimized? So that is where the ways of working are evolving with the insights that can be generated from what we have learned from past and giving that information into the systems. So now, to do all of this, it's not something that we can do overnight. It takes time and effort and right kind of foundational systems to build to that level. And this is where, this is a small way of putting it across. If you have the right engineering practices in place, which is foundation, that can help you to get the right data and signals to generate insights, that is the basic foundation we need to have. Then you can answer some of the questions, what has happened, and we have been doing it for years. What has happened, what can happen? But now we are moving into the era where these insights are needed to be applied in a way that it is more human-centric, and we'll see some examples of that as well, to build your future credibility. With what has happened, what you have done, you have built your credibility in that space, but for future, the things need to evolve. And we at Publicis Sapient have been investing into this space from last 7 to 8 years, where we have made certain decisions, we have done certain programming, or we have done certain acquisitions to help enable that journey. And at some point in time, with 3 decades of experience that we had, we realized that across industries, there are similar kind of problems that can be solved with the core being same, but the business problem can be different. And we'll see a few examples of that. And with that in mind, we have built a platform which is Bodhi. And this is our homegrown platform, which is an enterprise-level AI ML platform with core foundation being built for any industry, for any solution, and then we have solutions on top of it, and we'll take a look at some of the details in a while. This is the platform which has got industry recognition for consecutive 3 years. In 2021, 2022, it was recognized at AWS AI Conclave, and then also at Horizon 3, it got recognition last year. And this is still evolving. We started this as a platform to help you have your AI ML use cases onboarded in a shorter time and taking them from development to production in a shorter time. But then it evolved for the solutions, and then it evolves for industries. And here is a quick glimpse on the key building blocks of this platform. So at the bottom of this, what you see is the core. So core is common for anything that you want to do in the enterprise level platform. That goes into the core to give you that foundation ready. And then the middle layer talks about solution in a box, which is basically the solutions that are industry agnostic. And these solutions can then, either individually or in a combination, can help you to solve industry use cases. So this is the simple block diagram for this platform. And here is little more detail. We'll not go into all the details of it, but these are the core features in the foundational layer that we talked about, which can help in the end-to-end AI/ML journey, right from development to model training, to model monitoring, to productionization. And it covers all the elements from data ingestion to model tuning, and then productionizing and scaling as well. So when I talked about Bodhi so much and gave you so much detail, let's look at some of the out-of-the-box solutions that it has. So Bodhi Recommend is a solution wherein this is giving you the power to have insights for your customers, and then you can use those insights to derive the business use cases. And this particular one is based on the graph-based AI-powered systems, and this can run in batch as well as in real time. The second one is Bodhi Curate, which ties back to your processes which are built on insights and who can set the processes that can self-sustain. So this particular one is the one which is helping us with the data quality, with the schema matching, with the identity profiling, and PII information. So this is for the data process to be optimized. Then Ask Bodhi is another solution built on the same core framework, which is a cognitive search system. And this is a system which uses GenAI and LLMs. to help users ask what they are thinking in their own natural language. And LLMs are going to build beyond what has been told by the user, and they'll give you the information which is relevant in the context of what you have asked for. And we'll see some examples of this as well. And Bodhi Vision is another one which has been built on the computer vision algorithms. And this is primarily to help with the rich media text. How do you decompose that? How do you find what is the information within it? And you decompose, you start classifying, and you start seeing what this information, how this information can be used. And so we'll see some of the examples of these use cases that we have already brought to life for some of our clients. And Aashima is going to talk about in detail about those use cases.
Thank you, Param. Morning, everyone. So Param shared a lot of frameworks and how we look at different kinds of insights and generating insights at scale. And I'm going to talk about some of the examples where we've actually put it to life, not just using the accelerator. Of course, there is accelerator, but there are traditional ways of doing that as well. And we'll see how a combination of it all comes together. So the first example that I'm going to talk about is for the global automotive client. But before that, we would agree that all businesses today are moving towards being more and more customer-centric. Now, when I talk about being customer-centric, it's not just about being able to render the experience for the customer, but also tailor-making the product that not you want to sell, but the customer wants to buy. Having said that, it's way easier said than done for industries like retail to still make tailor-made products. But when we talk about big-ticket items like cars, it's a little bit tricky, right? And for those of you who were there in yesterday's session, there was a gentleman who shared a slide, and it said customer. There was a dial, actually. It said customer, data AI, and money. Now, isn't that true? In the end of the day, whatever you do for your clients, you use GenAI, AI, advanced analytics, it has to boil down to a better ROI. Keeping that in mind, what we did for our client was that we tried to unlock the power of data through dynamic modeling that could actually influence their product planning. And while they do that, now they were actually, enabled to make better, precise decisions about what kind of resources they want to put for building what kind of car combinations. At the same time, making sure that the kind of demand for features that the customers are asking is well taken care of, and they are able to maximize their ROIs because now they are actually producing more profitable cars. So let's see how we did it for them. So the solution was that when anyone, a potential customer, comes on their digital platforms, be it a website or a mobile app, there's a very fancy looking configurator, car configurator. Just like you move into a wedding and there's this pasta station, it gives you all the ingredients and gives you the choice to make your dish. That's something that we did with the car configurator. We gave the customer the option of selecting the model, grade, color, engine, upholstery, and accessories, plus all the subscriptions for the connected cars that they want to buy. Now, that's so much of data coming out of configurator, and talking about this data, it actually has the power for us to understand the needs of the customer, at the same time provide back to the business a way that they can understand what kind of combinations are more profitable for them and in more demand. So we used conjoint analysis. We leveraged advanced statistical techniques like Monte Carlo Markov analysis, wherein we were then able to identify the coefficients for each of the discrete choice that the customer was making. With this, we were able to build it on to insights. Now, these insights were then visualized, keeping in mind the various factors. And there was a utility dashboard that we created, which was absolutely customer-facing. Not customer-facing, but the the customer here for this product was our internal teams, the product planning team and the experience team. And what it did for them was that the insights that were getting generated were helping them to understand the utility scores. Now, what's utility score? So a higher utility actually meant that this is a more attractive component for customers, and a lower utility score meant that it was attractive, but in terms of the price paid, it becomes less attractive. So when you look at the combinations of these utility score which comes out of this conjoint analysis, which is based on the trade-offs, because making all these complex choices, the customers are taking that decision, and then there's a trade-off attached to it. So the trade-off analysis actually helped us build this all together. So now these insights were actually helping the business at multiple levels. The first was absolutely for the product planning team, helping them understand what are the most combinations, like does the broccoli sell better with people who are choosing the white sauce or the red sauce? But having said that, it was way more difficult for us in the cases of car, that to understand that it's not just about the choice they are making, but is it even in turn profitable? So for example, dual tone or ceramic colors. Now all these combinations were not doing equally well for all the kind of cars. So understanding these variations through hypothesis is what we got enabled for, and we were able to then make these combinations keeping in mind model, grade and color and accessories, and so on. So we, as an impact for this single car model, were able to show an additional revenue that could be generated if the model insights were followed for about $1 million per year for one car, one market. And not just this, these insights were then fed back to the experience team to be able to render the car combinations which are seen by default for those car models, and what you see is what you sell. Most of the time, we've seen that if a new car is launched in a red color, then the maximum number of cars on the road initially that you see are in the color in which it got marketed for. So that's the power of the experience. So these insights actually not just help the product planning, but also rendering the experience in a way that the average order value for the customer on the website selecting the car is increased. So this way, we had this model which was done for a single car, scaled to become a model for a for a global solution for a multi-car model. Moving on to the next. Okay, so this one is more around the insights for customers. Param showed us 3 bubbles. One was for data process, business operations, and the customer insights. So this one is for insights. I'm sure you all have heard of Marriott, right? Now with a raise of hand, how many of us like traveling? I'm sure. No, don't lower your hand. Have your hand up. So now lower your hand if someone else does the booking for you. Okay. So now lower the hand if the property in which you are staying doesn't really matter much. Lower the hand if you think that you don't ever have specific needs when you are looking out for a property. Thank you for all those who helped me sustain my point. So bringing exactly the same kind of customer centricity to Marriott. Because when someone in US has made up their mind that they want to stay in Marriott, they still have about 8,000 choices to make. So we try to make it a little easier for them, keeping in mind that how can we give them a better offer. So this is what Marriott had traditionally. A traditional search with those combinations of where do you want to go, what kind of dates, how many people are going, what rooms, and so on. But does that help? Not really. A lot is still left for your decision making. So what we did for them was moved their traditional search to a AI-driven, AI-powered, GenAI-powered search. What it did do? So it allowed people like us who have some specific needs, instead of doing the filters, just put in natural language, what is it that you're looking for? And using the GenAI model, this query was extracted and the attributes and the amenities were identified. Now look at that example, and I'm going to read it from the screen. Find me a luxury villa, rental in Tuscany with vineyards view and gourmet kitchen. I mean, it gets you excited about not just a trip, but living there already, doesn't it? And at the same time, it's this experience that helps you start reimagining the way you will book your travel. We didn't stop there. We took it to the next level and scaled it to make it a conversational AI. Using the same power that we were able to encash out of the GenAI, we made sure that it's not just giving you the options of what you're looking for, but why can't we recommend you more options and then you make the choices that you want. So here's an example, a very small demo of how this works. So the person enters that if I wish to be in the hot springs in Southern California and stay at a home with pool and fire pit. Now, one option is that it just shows me those homes, but what it does otherwise is, just have a look. So it actually brings me the option, what kind of springs? You know, we have desert springs and we have palm springs and we have homes for both. Now this way, total experience which is being rendered is not just meeting the expectation of the customer, but actually exceeding it, isn't it? So now you know way more things to choose from than you actually thought you would have. And then it takes you to the page where whatever option you have selected, and then the further customer journey carries on. So this is a classic example of how we improve the personalization by scaling a traditional search system to an AI-driven search, and then further to a conversational AI. Okay. I know I have running against the time, but yes, here comes my last example, where I'm going to talk about the accelerator that Param showed, our PS Bodhi accelerator, which was able to transform the way RHS, which is a Royal Horticulture Society, which is a 200-year-old society. It is actually a charitable society in UK, which helps their customers to understand how they can take care of their plants, gardens, and parks. So what did we do for them? So coming from a conventional way of a non-tech society, the way the organization worked, it was more around that how are the experts who are sitting at the background helping the customer get the answers of their query. A very traditional system where you have an expert botanist sitting behind the screens and manually trying to understand the questions which are coming through and answering. So we started this engagement with them, wherein this was an application that we were developing based on the computer vision, which would have helped their customers to identify the plants. That's how we started. But what we soon realized was that there was a bottleneck for how much of customers can they actually cater to. So there was a need of scale where we thought that using the technology advancements and our Bodhi accelerator, which could actually help them traverse their journey from a traditional botanist-based conversation as a customer care to a chat botanist app, which was actually converted into the pilot and productionized within a matter of weeks because of that accelerator. So what we did was that there were a lot of metadata, plant metadata. There were hundreds and thousands of historical Q&A as a knowledge base. And then there were these transcripts for all the customer care question answers that they have been having manually. What is the kind of questions were being asked? What are the kind of tone in which the answer was given? Because of course, this is a charitable society, but at the same time, maintaining the tone, brand tone, as well as having the guardrails. That when you are exposing a GenAI solution out to customer, you should make sure that you're putting the right guardrails so that it is not answering anything out of what is told. So the knowledge base had to be restricted. So these are some of the things that we did for fine-tune the models, LLM models, and then I'm more than happy to show you what happened next.
Have you ever wondered how the power of AI can revolutionize the way we interact with nature? In a world where gardening is fast gaining traction as a sustainable lifestyle choice, the UK-based Royal Horticultural Society, RHS, decided to transition away from conventional specialist approaches and empower their users with a state-of-the-art AI-driven solution that enables them to make real-time informed decisions. However, they soon faced a number of challenges, ranging from variations in lighting and plant ages in images, to managing scale, to creating a budget-friendly alternative to expensive commercial solutions. To overcome these, they sought a partnership with Publicis Sapient, aiming to leverage our expertise in digital transformation to propel RHS into the digital age. And we had just the right solution. Introducing the RHS Chat Botanist, a bespoke AI-enabled tool powered by Ask Bodhi, Publicis Sapient's innovative solution designed to deploy generative AI at scale. This personal plant expert automates customer response tasks, providing advice based on the collective knowledge of RHS botanists and horticulturists from the past 5 years, alongside valuable plant metadata, advice, and growing guides. Designed to deliver an enriching user experience, the chatbot harnesses the power of AI customization layers to provide precise, in-context, and lightning-fast responses, a feat made possible thanks to extensive training on various challenges, including creating a welcoming atmosphere, relevance at its core, promoting sustainable gardening, improved URL reliability, and focused and coherent responses. And that's not all. We also introduced the RHS Grow app, a revolutionary plant identification tool that uses AI to put 2 centuries of RHS expertise at users' fingertips, empowering them with personalized plant collections, care guidance, and expert validated advice. And the results have been astounding. 66,000 plus app downloads in 2 months, 90% accuracy in responses, innovative data augmentation techniques, and a joint research paper highlighting AI model outcomes and innovations. As RHS and Publicis Sapient continue to innovate and deepen our connection with nature through technology, we are now joining forces with RHS's network of botanists and experts to develop an AI-based computer vision solution aimed at inspiring and empowering a whole new generation of gardeners.
So this and a lot more by the touch of AI and GenAI in terms of leveraging the AI for generating insight is what we were able to accomplish. But at the same time, I would like to leave or end on this note that whenever we are talking about understanding that how we can build that insight system, we should know that what are we trying to solve for, which helps us define that problem, which circle would it fall in. Once we have defined that, we need a strong underlying engineering architecture, if you may want to call it that way, that how you're bringing that ecosystem to actually enable that system that you are trying to build. So that's in the define. You refine by making sure that your models are always learning, or whatever you are doing, even if you're using traditional AI, how you're making sure that the feedback loop is there to refine and evolve until you reach the success APIs that you deserve to, or you expect to. And then it's all yours. You can make sure that with the kind of advancements in the data and tech platforms that we have at our leverage today, we can actually scale our solutions to any level. Thank you so much for patiently listening in. This is Aashima.